Hello everyone, now I'm going to do a rewind for the past several months that I have not made a video. I don't know if I did mention that I read this. It's Let the Right One In by Johan Ajvide Lindqvist. I watched the movie, the Swedish one, years ago and I loved it, and I did watch the American version, which I didn't think was very good in comparison. So I decided to read the book, and I did like it. I was loving it throughout the whole middle of it, until something happened that put me off a little bit. So it was good. The character development, the character inner thoughts are very well done, but in the end it did not go very well for me. But anyway, it was a good story and I do recommend this for vampire fans. I gave it 3 stars, so yeah, just if you want to know how many stars it was on my Goodreads. I also read A Million Suns by Beth Revis, which is the sequel to Across the Universe. Ah, a bug! It was a bee. Just get out. You see what happens with the heat in this country. We get bugs everywhere. Okay, so this is a sequel to Across the Universe, and I love Across the Universe so much. And this was as good as Across the Universe. It was always something unexpected happening, always something very exciting, and crazy surprises, crazy shocks. It was wonderful. I do recommend you read the series. It was 5 stars. I also actually listened to The Shining by Stephen King. I downloaded it on audio, and it was great. I love Stephen King. The other book I listened to by him was Carrie, which I adore also. And this one was also very well read, and the story flowed very well. I do love how he gets in someone's head, and he sounds in a way. It might seem like I say that because it was on audio, but no, it's just the way he talks, and the person talks in the head, in their head, you know what I mean? It's very different from character to character, and you can really see their motives and their craziness and their violence or their confusion. And it's amazing how he conducts a story, which is very paranormal in the central plot, but it's also very character based. So it was wonderful. The Shining is, I think I like The Shining better than Carrie so far. Yeah, it was great book. I gave it 5 stars also. I read another book by Alice Hoffman, which is called Practical Magic. I decided to read other books by her because I just love that one. So I picked up this one from Better Old Books a while ago. It's called The Ice Queen, and I wasn't even planning on getting this. I just started reading first page, and then it went on, and I finished the book. This is about a woman that is hit by lightning, and she gets all sorts of symptoms and senses deprivation from that. She changes a lot, and from that she evolves and changes who she really is and sorts out all sorts of problems. And she meets another man who's also hit by lightning, and the story goes on. So it was very well written, as always. Sorry, spooky noises. It was very well written, as it is with Alice Hoffman. There's a little bit of magical realism there, if you can catch a little bit of these magic things she puts in there, which is wonderful, what I love about her, really. So this was really good. It was 4 stars for me. This is a lovely book by Philip Pullman that I almost called Four Tales. I read another novel that is in here, which is The Firework Maker's Daughter, and this was lovely. It has some illustrations, and it's about a girl that lives in India, perhaps. I don't know, I might be mistaken, I forgot. But yeah, she's a firework maker's daughter, and she wants to learn everything there is to know about being a fire maker, because she also learns from her father some of this, and her father tells her that she can never be a true firework maker if she doesn't know a certain thing. And then she goes on a quest with all sorts of perils to seek this thing that she believes is going to make her a firework maker. It has very important messages, and then it was actually really fun and great, as Philip Pullman usually delivers. So now there's only another, no, two. There's only two to go from the Four Tales. I read two of these already. But yeah, that one was 4 stars for me. Then I read The White Queen, as I did mention on my book haul. This was 5 stars for me, and one of my favorites. It's a very, I don't know, it reminded me of The Mists of Avalon, the way that it centers on women and women shaping the future of countries. A bit of witchcraft in this book, which I adored. She does perform some little magics here and there that does affect the weather or people's health, which is awesome, really cool. Her mother does teach some things, and they do say they are descendants from the goddess Melusina, which is a water goddess, something like that. So it's very well written, excellent quotes. As you can see, I put here all my on post-its behind the book, because lovely quotes about women, about the war, and it was excellent. If you have a chance to watch it on TV, do. It was wonderful book. It brought a lot of emotion in me. Excellent book, and I'm crazily going on with the series as much as I can. Also read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, which was fantastic, 5 stars. Our child experiences the world in a certain way, and we completely forget about it when we grow up, how we had this whole other world and these games and these friends, even friends we made as children that we don't even remember their names anymore. But you know, you play with certain kids when you were young, and now they're gone from your memory, and all the games and worlds you invented together. So it was great how he played with memory at the end. Very scary and nerve-wracking, as Neil Gaiman does deliver. So beautiful, wonderful, magical, lovely, 5 stars. If I had to say which my favorite Neil Gaiman, I think I would say Coraline first, and this is the second favorite so far. Yeah, it was really good for me. Finally finished just yesterday reading Mockingjay by Susan Collins. Of course you know who she is. I watched Catching Fire a few weeks ago, and I love the movie. Somehow I love the movies for Hunger Games even better than the books, you know, the first 2 ones. Yeah, I think the movie works so well. So right after watching it, I said I should just go ahead and finish and read Mockingjay, because I had just started a little bit, so I had to finish it. So I read it, and it was great. It was the best book of the 3 for me. I do realize now what I didn't like about Suzanne Collins' writing. Maybe it was her writing, maybe it wasn't even Katniss that was getting on my nerves. There is a detachment to describing these gruesome things, and I think it's a way of Katniss describing things that go on with her, detaching herself a little bit so as not to feel all these terrible things. So I kind of forgave the things I didn't like about the other books a bit more. So this was 5 stars for me, couldn't put it down. And I liked the ending. The ending was sad and beautiful at the same time. I really enjoyed it. It was very well done. I'm gonna talk about some books I read on my Kindle. I read a book by Alexander Dumas. I know I say Alexander Dumas. He's the one that wrote the Three Musketeers? Musketeers, yeah, that one. There's a book called The Pale Lady, and it's a vampire book by him, so I said I had to read that. And it was a really short story, and it was really cool. It's about a woman that loses the places she lives is attacked, so she has to take shelter in this castle, which has 2 brothers that are vampires. You get that right at the beginning when you can see. And they both fall in love with her, and she falls in love with only one of them, and I enjoyed it. It was tragic in the end, but it was a tragic story, but really, really cool, interesting thing for vampire fans. If you want a really old classic vampires novel, there you have it. For Halloween, I read a witch book. It's called The Wicked Girls. I forgot who this is by. Stephanie Hemphill. And this book came out a while ago, I think 2010, and I was seeing that a lot on book hauls, and I wanted to read it ever since. And just this Halloween I said I wonder which book to read. Just a photo I uploaded because the book is not here anymore, I already deleted it. It's in verse, and it talks about, it follows the several characters that are the girls that used to that would name people as witches on the Salem witch trials. The explanations she gives for the girls to act that way. There are several explanations she says on an author's note. She does in the end why the girls were naming those people to be hanged, and sometimes they say it was a hallucination they would have, or little wars between families, so they would name people they didn't like, or they were competitive on their business and stuff like that. But they were doing that to get attention because they were celebrities in the town. Girls didn't have any sort of power or influence. They were just told what to do. And with that, they kind of reason, and they would have time to rest. They wouldn't have to work. If they were having a vision, people would always welcome them and ask them who's the next witch, and then you see the relationship between the girls, the older girls, the younger girls, how that played out. So who was in charge, and so it was really good. And with all this drama and manipulative things, there was also a lot of beauty in the way, beauty and sadness in the way they would describe the hangings and how they would feel sorry about what they were doing. It was a really good book to read for Halloween. It had this atmosphere. It was really good. Yeah. And now I want to talk about the best book I read this year. Yeah, that's just it. Let's just put it that way. This is just a picture uploaded here. It's Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This book was fantastic. You should go read. You should go read a synopsis on this, and you will be confused. Go watch the book trailer for that. It does give a few spoilers, so I had to watch that before reading it, which is a bit spoily. But it's this way. There's this girl called Ursula, and this book is completely linear. She is born in 1910, and she dies. And then the chapter ends, and we go back. We go back to the time before she died, and she's saved as a baby. And then the story goes on following her family life in Fox Corner, which is her house. And then when she's about 5, she drowns. She drowns and dies. And then the next chapter, we go back to that same scene where she dies, and a man sees her and saves her and her sister, so she doesn't die. And then the story goes on, and it goes on through the whole book, her dying and not dying, living again. And which is amazing is that at some point she starts to remember, she starts to get feelings about things she shouldn't do or things she should do. She doesn't know where this intuition is coming from. She even sees a psychiatrist. They think she's having past life. She had like a memory of past lives, as some theories say. But it's amazing when she starts to remember her past lives. She starts to take action and direct her life in one way or another. And this book was wonderful because it makes you see how little decisions you make can change your whole life. Of course, this is very obvious to everyone that a simple thing, like 5 minutes late, you could get in an accident and die. But this book is unbelievable how little things can change your future in a drastic way. Prologue starts very interestingly. She gets in a restaurant, and she sits, a German restaurant, and she sits at a table with Hitler. She's in his close circle at some point, and she takes out a gun to kill him. And as she goes kill him, she's shot first, so she dies right there. And then it starts with the real book when she's born, and then we want to see how that moment is going to play out and return to that prologue. Lots of things on the war. This was something I really enjoyed as well. On the Second World War, at some point she's in London, at some point she's in Berlin, and I had never really understood what life was for those people that were in these bomb shelters during the raids, and painful and sad and awful. And the writing is very raw. There's a lot of death and these feelings of suffering. As I was reading it, I was so at awe at how good this book was, and I realized that the best books I read during the year are at the end of the year, because it's usually how it is. The last months are when I pick up the best books ever, and I have tons of books to read on my pile, but I wanted to read this book because Sylvia Whitman recommended that book on a literature commentary program on France 24, which is a journal website I follow the news from. And yeah, she recommended that, and it was right on. It was fantastic. So do listen. I do listen now to Sylvia Whitman's book recommendations, and yeah, I decided to get that one, and it was the best thing I did this year. Probably not, but book-wise. Anyway, okay. So I'm reading several things now. I'm reading Sandman, finally, from Neil Gaiman. It's like his masterwork. A little bit of a life update. I might move to the US next year for a few months to do work, and I'm excited and also a bit afraid because I'm gonna move to a new country, and I'm sure it's gonna be excellent. Also the bookshops, imagine me with all those discounts. Yeah, packing back is gonna be very interesting. How many boxes of books I'm gonna gather this month I'm gonna be living there. Wish me luck. Yeah, I'll let you guys know more about that later. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and hope you have a good day, and I'll see you later.